The Young and the Restless episode on August 20th, 2025, had Claire exposing Audra's scheme to Nate, while Chelsea and Adam strategized, and Tessa and Daniel shared a special moment. Sally and Billy took a break from jogging in Chancellor Park. The red-headed beauty mentioned the idea of a party to debut Abbott Communications. She asked Billy to be her date. Sally said they were ready to launch next week. She teased that she had a secret weapon, Audra Charles. Billy wanted to know how Sally was available. Sally fudged to Billy that Audra saw the pitfalls of working with Victor. She pointed out that Audra would be loyal to a fault. Billy said it's good to have a COO in whom you can believe. Sally said Audra won't stop until she comes out on top. Sally said that if she weren't so busy, she'd try to talk Billy out of regaining Chancellor Industries. She added that she'd be doing her best to undo Newman Media's attack on Billy. The Abbott heir appreciated Sally's support. She wondered how he'd handle it if Kane became a problem, or if he failed in his efforts to regain Chancellor Industries. Billy teased that he had his very own secret weapon that would cause both Victor and Kane to lose. Sally said she felt a little odd running a company with a name on it that wasn't hers. Billy kidded that they could call the company Spectra Communications. Sally said the problem was a lot of pressure, running a family company that wasn't her family's. Billy told her not to worry. At the Jazz Lounge, Chelsea and Adam strategized over what Kane might do now that Newman Media has exposed him as Aristotle Dumas. Chelsea agreed with Adam that they need to stay on high alert. She wondered if Charlie and Maddie had been told the truth before the news hit. Adam shrugged that Kane and Lily had plenty of time to notify their kids. Chelsea assured Adam that she wasn't concerned about Kane, but she was trying to get inside his head. "We lit a fuse under Kane that's ready to explode," Chelsea cautioned. Adam wished Kane would make his move. Chelsea wondered if Kane would become an ally of the Newmans against the Abbotts. Adam said Kane didn't strike him as the type of guy who was trying to gain alliances. Adam told Chelsea that she has amazed him again, as she is ready to dig into conflicts with Kane. Chelsea said she had a certain set of skills from her grifting days that might come in handy. She hastened to add that it'd be all legal. Adam mused that she shouldn't rule anything out. Adam was happy to hear that Chelsea sees threats to the Newmans as a threat against her and Connor. Adam said he wasn't on board with befriending Kane as Victor is having Nick try and do. Chelsea cautioned Adam against crossing his family in their battle against Kane. Adam shared that he was thinking of hitting Kane from a different angle. Just then, Sally and Billy, changed from their jog, entered the lounge. Sally ripped into Adam and Chelsea, telling them she was disappointed that they stabbed Billy in the back in their Kane is Dumas article. Sally wanted to know what happened to Chelsea, who had talked about making the world a kinder and gentler place. Adam pointed out that there wasn't one thing in the article that wasn't true. Adam asked if he'd missed a few of Billy's epic failures in the article. Billy told Chelsea there was time for her to get out. Chelsea congratulated Sally on running Abbott Communications. Adam gave a backhanded compliment to Billy when he told him that he doubted he was smart enough to put Sally in charge of Abbott's media company. Chelsea asked what Billy was going to be doing if Sally were in charge of Abbott Communications. Billy revealed that he'd enlighten Chelsea and Adam soon. Billy said his news would come out via Abbott Communications, from where all big news would. Adam downplayed Billy's talk, but Chelsea had a sense that Billy had something going on for real. Meanwhile, Tessa, Claire, Holden, and Daniel continued having a good time at Society, the eatery. Holden recounted his time in Los Angeles when he tried out for a reality show. Alas, he dated and ghosted one of the decision-makers, so he wasn't cast on the program. Holden said he was young, and the casting person went on to have a great career. Daniel advised Holden not to repeat that story on future dates. Holden said it might show that he was honest. Claire concurred. The levity was dampened a bit when Holden and Claire spied Audra and Nate's arrival. Claire lamented that she was having fun till Audra showed up, but noted that she shouldn't be because she's still mourning. Holden told her it was okay to have fun. Holden suggested they not let Audra ruin their evening. Nate told Audra he wanted to say hi to Claire since she's going through a difficult time because she lost Cole. Claire told Nate that she was doing okay, all things considered. She gave condolences to Nate. Claire refused to give in to her grief. Daniel and Tessa gave Nate their condolences on Damien. Daniel offered to lend a supportive ear as he was going through his grief over Heather. Nate and Audra headed to their table. Nate went to the bar to get them drinks. Tessa noticed Claire glaring at Audra. She asked Claire what was going on. Claire apologized in advance for making a scene, as she has had it with Audra. Claire joined Nate at the bar. She told him there was something he needed to know. "It's Audra," Claire began. "Your girlfriend made a deal with my grandfather for funding her company in exchange for getting Kyle to cheat on me. With her." Audra beelined to the bar just in time to hear the tail end of Clary's accusation. Audra quickly challenged Claire and lied that Kyle was the one who was coming on to her. She said that Kyle nuzzled her neck and applied sunscreen to her. Audra claimed that Kyle's fragile ego was hurt when she rejected him. Claire brought up the recent kiss Audra planted on Kyle at society. Nate wanted to know why he was just learning about this smooch now. Audra said she didn't want to upset him, and that Kyle had kissed her. Claire countered that Audra initiated the lip lock. Audra maintained her stance that this was all Kyle's doing. "She is ruthless and she is selfish," Claire said of Audra before exiting. Claire thanked Holden for the drink and exited society. Holden followed her. Meanwhile, Audra told a stunned Nate that Claire told outright lies. Nate said he was dealing with a lot. "I know it's been hard," Audra said. She hated that Nate and Amy were in pain, and that Claire dumped a pack of lies on him. She asked Nate if he believed her. He claimed to be emotionally spent. He hoped to take comfort by spending time with Audra. "I just wanted a few hours to escape all the pain and grief," Nate said. He asked Audra what she expected him to say. Audra wondered if Nate believed her over Claire. She pointed out that she had a tough day watching Amy grieve Damien. "You're both like family to me," Audra said. Nate couldn't figure out why Claire would lie. He observed that some of what Claire said held water. Audra said she could see Claire believing Kyle's lies because she's vulnerable over losing her father, Cole. How much more bad news can the girl take? The Vibrante creator shrugged. Audra said Kyle was lying to cover up his lust for Audra. She shared that Victor was right about Kyle the whole time, in that he was going to break Claire's heart. Nate wanted to know how Audra knew what Victor thought. Meanwhile, Holden caught up with Claire at Chancellor Park. Claire said there was no reason to protect Audra, so she told Holden that Audra was trying to gaslight her into thinking Kyle wanted her. Holden wondered why Audra would do that. Claire said that Audra made a deal with Victor, funding for Vibrante if she broke up Claire and Kyle. Holden said that was on brand for Audra. He said there's no way Audra would turn down a deal like that from Victor. Holden asked if there was any chance that Audra was not lying. Holden said that he had a history with Audra. He added that he found out the hard way that she had a way of getting to him. Holden doubted Kyle was as weak as he was. He told her Kyle hit the lottery when he found Claire. Holden apologized for casting any doubt on Kyle, but noted that Claire must have some doubts about him. "I hate that I do," Claire sighed. Meanwhile, Tessa thanked Daniel for helping her, and she put her hand on his. She said that ever since she and Mariah had split, that Daniel has been there for her. She told him how much she enjoyed his company. Daniel said he felt the same way Tessa did, that he could be happy. The Young and the Restless, recap for Thursday, August 21st, reveals that Victor Newman will ask Claire Newman's forgiveness and decide to allow her romance with Kyle Abbott. But more trouble is brewing. Once Devin Winters meets up with Nate Hastings in the park, he'll get updates on everything Claire said about Audra Charles and the plot to destroy her relationship with Kyle. Devin will buy the idea that Victor would order that, and we'll hear about the kiss Claire spotted between Kyle and Claire at Society too. Nate will struggle over what to believe since everyone's pointing fingers in different directions. Devin will think Audra is the least trustworthy of the group, and will basically push Nate to trust his gut. Since Nate will have doubts about Audra, he'll seem afraid of the answer his gut will lead him to. At the ranch on Thursday's Y&R episode, Victor will seem pensive as he flashes back to tense moments with Kyle and Claire. Nikki Newman will quiz Victor about what's wrong, but so he'll mention that it's about Claire and Kyle before heading off to settle this. At the tack house, Claire will fill Victoria Newman in on what happened when she told Nate the truth about Audra's actions. Claire will rant about Audra lying and trying to spin everything around on Kyle. Victor will eventually show up and ask to speak with Claire alone, so Victoria will leave them to speak in private. Claire won't see what they have to talk about, since Victor's made his stance crystal clear regarding Kyle. However, things will be different this time around. Victor will assure Claire that he's only ever wanted to protect her, but he'll promise he's not going to stand in the way of her relationship with Kyle anymore. Claire will seem skeptical at first, but Victor will convince her he's truly backing off, and will even ask for forgiveness as they hug. At Society, Kyle will admit to Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins Abbott that he shared one kiss with Audra as part of his trap in Nice. Jack and Diane will feel like it'd be better to come clean to Claire now than risk a blow-up later. Kyle will refuse to cause Claire any more pain, and will worry about how it'd look if she found out he'd been concealing that kiss. Victor will eventually call Kyle and summon him to the ranch, so he won't be looking forward to that meeting. Once Claire shows up, she'll urge Kyle to go since everything has changed. Claire will be delighted over Victor's change of heart regarding her romance with Kyle, so she'll spill the news to Jack, Diane, Victoria, and Nikki too. Kyle will indeed end up at the ranch, where Victor will insist Kyle passed his test. Victor will assure Kyle that he won't try to block his relationship with Claire any longer, though he'll still be watching Kyle. At Crimson Lights, Audra will tell Sally Spectra about that witch Claire exposing everything to Nate about Victor's plan and the kiss she planted on Kyle. Audra will act like Claire's a drama queen who's being vindictive, but Sally will give her some tough love and point out this was the risk of entering that arrangement with Victor. Even so, Audra won't approve of Kyle playing the victim when he was only a towel away from betraying Claire on the bed in Nice. Audra will admit she blamed Kyle for everything and tried to do damage control, but Nate still slept on the couch. Nate will eventually show up and speak with Audra alone, so he'll refuse to let her dodge this discussion or feed him more lies. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Nate will be ready for the truth since his instincts will tell him that Audra's deceiving him, so stay tuned to see her response. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of August 25-29 reveal that fans will see Audra Charles's revenge, while Sally Spectra's party is at risk. Phyllis Summers will also have some results for Kane Ashby, so there'll be a lot going on in Genoa City. For starters, Phyllis will carry out some urgent orders for Kane, who'll expect her to deliver on the promises she's made. Since Phyllis has been pledging her loyalty and singing her own praises, Kane will need her to get the job done. This may be related to the hacking instructions that Kane's already been hinting at. Kane wants Phyllis to hack into the major companies he's after, so he may get the ball rolling on that task and the shopping that he plans to do. Of course, Kane will hold out hope that he can repair the damage with his children, and even Lily Winters, but she may keep giving him the cold shoulder for now. Lily is fed up with Kane, but you can bet she still feels something for him deep down. Over with Tessa Porter and Daniel Romalotti Jr., they'll keep strengthening their bond and inching toward perhaps more than friends. Could someone like Sharon Newman or even Mariah Copeland come along to witness an intense moment? Could Daniel and Tessa be spotted sharing a kiss, or at least come close to it? Regardless, Sharon may have romantic problems of her own since Nick Newman isn't in a hurry to define whatever's happening between them. If Nick is just playing games and not willing to commit, he could be setting Sharon up for more heartbreak. After Nate Hastings finally convinces Audra to come clean about her despicable behavior, he'll have to decide whether they can move past her mistakes. Audra may beg Nate for another chance, but it seems likely he'll dump her anyway. In the aftermath of Audra and Nate's potential split, Y&R spoilers hint that Audra could really lose control. This could be a turning point where Audra makes it her mission to make Claire Newman and Kyle Abbott feel the same heartache she's feeling. Audra may not rest until Kyle and Claire break up as well. This won't even be about the Vibranti funding anymore. It'll just be about payback and getting a sense of satisfaction. Sally is also planning a launch party that's set to kick off during the week of August 25-29. Will that bash take a disastrous turn, as so many soap parties tend to do? Audra could be a liability to Abbott Communications, considering her shady history and all the latest drama with Claire, Kyle, and Nate. It's clear that Audra won't be in the right frame of mind for business and a big launch like this, so she could make mistakes. Billy Abbott may have second thoughts about putting Sally in charge if this launch celebration brings chaos, so stay tuned for updates on all the shocking news ahead. The Young and the Restless spoilers say some twists and turns will shake up the canvas in the coming episodes. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Harrison Abbott may come home to chaos. Kyle Abbott and Claire Newman may not be able to hide their relationship turmoil once Audra Charles carries out her next vengeful plot. In Y&R's August 19th episode, there was plenty of talk about Harrison's imminent homecoming. Harrison has been spending time with Summer Newman in Milan, but it won't be long until he's back in Genoa City with Kyle and his other loved ones. As Harrison's former nanny, Claire has developed a special bond with him. Harrison is also a smart kid who's able to pick up on things pretty easily, so it'll be hard to hide any drama that's escalating. Kyle and Claire have been struggling with an Audra crisis for a while now, but he's hoping to keep their relationship intact. Claire is trying to trust Kyle and keep the focus on her disdain for Audra, but that may not be possible for much longer. Since Claire is on the verge of ruining Audra and Nate Hastings' romance, you can bet Audra will seek payback. There's no way Audra will just let that go. So Kyle and Claire's relationship could be headed for destruction too. Kyle keeps dancing around the important issue of what actually happened behind closed doors in Nice. Claire doesn't realize Kyle had a major makeout session with Audra while he was wearing a towel. Kyle went as far as sprawling out on the bed with Audra under him, so he left a lot out of that story. Audra may make it her mission to force Kyle into total honesty about their sleeping car session that almost turned sizzling. Kyle claims there was no danger of it going any further, but how can Claire be sure when he's been deceiving her this entire time? Of course, Audra may find other ways to manipulate the situation and add to the conflict that's building. When Harrison comes home, he may find total chaos waiting for him, at least when it comes to Kyle and Claire's relationship blow-up. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Harrison will get updates on plenty of surprising news once he's back in GC, so stay tuned. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, August 22nd reveal that Kane Ashby will have a top-secret project for Phyllis Summers, while Audra Charles confesses to Nate Hastings. First, let's talk about Kane's orders for Phyllis, since he's about to put her to work on something. Phyllis and Kane have done enough strategizing, so now it's time for some real action and a step toward accomplishing Kane's takeover goals. Kane mentioned putting Phyllis's hacking talents to good use and doing a little shopping in enemy territory. So will that be the first assignment he delivers? Could Kane have something else for Phyllis to pull off first? Whatever the case, Kane will indeed have a top-secret project for Phyllis to tackle on Friday's Y&R episode. It'll give Phyllis a chance to prove her worth and show her loyalty, so she'll likely pass Kane's test. Over with Nate, he'll back Audra into a difficult corner. Audra often tries to talk her away out of trouble, or at least delay the inevitable with constant lies. However, that's not going to work this time around, since Nate is trusting his gut and can tell that Audra isn't giving him the real story. That's why Nate will push for honesty and perhaps warn Audra that their relationship can't move forward without it. Audra may find herself in a situation where she's doomed to lose Nate either way. Nate isn't going to put up with all the deception anymore, but the truth isn't going to help Audra much either in the end. Nevertheless, it looks like Audra will see that a confession is her only option. Once Nate applies more pressure, Audra should admit Claire Newman was right about Victor Newman hiring her to split up Claire and Kyle Abbott. Audra also kissed Kyle in another attempt to stir the pot, so she may confess to instigating that too and try to apologize for all the drama she's caused. Unfortunately, Audra doesn't seem very remorseful for any of it, so that may be a problem for Nate. Even if Audra tries to summon some tears and act apologetic, Nate may think she's only sorry that she got caught. The Young and the Restless spoilers say some breakup news may be in Audra's future. The two developed a mutual admiration for each other, which could grow into something more. Kane and Phyllis toasted to their mutual admiration. He claims they're not business partners, but they're not exactly equals either. Does this mean that the two could become more on The Young and the Restless? On the Tuesday, August 19th episode of Y&R, Phyllis stopped by Kane's train with a bottle of champagne. She wanted to celebrate their new venture. But he wasn't in the partying mood, especially when he disappointed his kids. They just learned that he was Aristotle Dumas. Kane wants to make it up to his family, but he doesn't know how. Phyllis knows what it's like to betray her kids. She faked her death and had them cover it up for her. She's not any better, and yet that makes her an expert. Still in the celebratory mood, Phyllis gave Kane a glass of champagne and toasted to their children. Kane declined her drink and said his children aren't as forgiving as hers. Phyllis told Kane to give it some time, which set him off. Kane reminded Phyllis that he's not the patient type. Because of this, Phyllis felt bad for Kane. She wasn't sure if she should stick around, but he told her to stay. Then, he tried to define their odd dynamic. They're not friends, business partners, or equals. Kane told Phyllis that he admired her. She clinked his glass and said, "I understand." As they clinked their glasses, they toasted, "Here's to our mutual admiration." Is there something else brewing here? Will these two outcasts find love with one another? Or will this be a steamy and passionate affair? Phyllis is way overdue for one. We'd like to see where this goes next. Audra is overdue for a dose of karma. Audra is Genoa City's newest bad girl on The Young and the Restless. The ambitious businesswoman isn't afraid to play dirty to get what she wants. However, Audra better be careful or karma will get her. Audra has done many terrible things to get ahead in the corporate world. From lying to betraying her friends, she wasn't afraid to fight dirty. After being fired from Glissade, it seems she was finally changing for the better. However, Audra was soon back to her old ways thanks to a deal with Victor. Audra agreed to break up Kyle and Claire in exchange for Victor funding Vibrante. Unfortunately, Audra failed when Kyle busted her and Victor's plan. Although Audra's business dreams are no more, that hasn't stopped her from continuing to taunt Kyle and Claire. Audra's attitude has infuriated fans. On Reddit, many are counting down the days until Audra's downfall. I'm ready to see Audra get slapped across the face, or at least have a drink/food dumped on her head, either by Claire or Victoria defending Claire. Her character had a good thing going with Nate, but it wasn't enough for her. Audra's level of greed is beyond business destruction. It's emotional ruin for anyone in her way, declared one fan. 100%, and I can't wait. In soap opera land, it will take some time, but she will, one user wrote. I am all for Audra getting her comeuppance, delivered by Claire. You know Claire has had years of training being raised by that Jordan woman, one viewer replied. Audra has already lost Vibrante, and she might lose more. She keeps poking the bear with Claire, unleashing the young woman's angry side. Claire holds the key to destroying Audra and Nate's relationship by revealing Audra and Victor's secret. The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Wednesday, August 20th, reveal that Audra Charles will accuse Kyle Abbott while Billy Abbott makes a furious demand. Tessa Porter will also tempt Daniel Romalotti Jr. So there'll be a lot happening in Genoa City. First, on Wednesday's Y&R episode, Adam Newman and Chelsea Lawson will face more backlash from Billy. This may involve additional media attacks, or perhaps the alliance that Nick Newman is now pursuing with Kane Ashby. Whatever the case, Billy will unleash his anger as he demands more information. Over with Daniel, he'll see Tessa in a different light. Daniel has already been developing real feelings for Tessa, but his attraction to her may intensify even more in Wednesday's show. It could leave Daniel tempted to kiss Tessa or tell her how he feels, but will any bold moves be made? Regardless, Daniel will struggle with some Tessa temptation after they share some close moments. Next, Audra will try to spin things around when it comes to all the Kyle drama. We'll see Audra once again accuse Kyle of coming onto her, so she'll act like Kyle's the one who can't keep his hands and lips to himself. Audra's blame game may come as Claire Newman approaches Nate Hastings to tell him all about what his girlfriend's been up to. Claire will be eager to expose Audra's attempt to blow up her romance on Victor Newman's orders. Nate also needs updates on the kiss Audra planted on Kyle at Society, so Claire will prepare to deliver some scandalous information. Despite Audra's efforts to wiggle out of the consequences of her actions, that plan is destined to fail. Nate will back Audra into a corner before the week's over and push for the whole truth, so their relationship seems destined to implode. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Audra should have plenty of regrets now that some terrible news is brewing for her own romance. The Young and the Restless spoilers are in for Thursday, August 21st, 2025. In tomorrow's episode, fans can expect Devin Winters to make a discovery. Meanwhile, Claire Grace Newman might be a little too satisfied with exposing Audra Charles. Keep reading, and let's talk about what is coming up in the next episode of the CBS soap opera. Let's start off with Nate Hastings, who just found out about Audra's drama with Claire and Kyle Abbott. The former doctor looked really hurt too. Audra knows it will be a miracle if he doesn't dump her immediately. However, Audra might have a chance to keep Nate if she tells the whole truth. However, instead of being totally honest, Audra blames Kyle. Over with Devin, he will make a discovery. The man will tell Nate that he should ask himself what his intuition is telling him. As much as he cares for Audra, if she's just blaming everyone else, that's not responsibility or accountability. It seems that Audra could lose Nate forever, which will just make her even more angry and bitter. Devin might encourage Nate to push Audra into confessing. It seems Nate does that later this week. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Thursday, August 21st, reveal that Jack Abbott will share some wisdom with Kyle. Both Jack and Diane Jenkins Abbott are worried about Kyle. The young man deceived Claire and didn't tell her the truth about the whole story with Audra. Jack might push his son to be honest before Claire finds out another way. Fans will also see Victor Newman throw a shocking curveball. Does this have something to do with Claire or maybe Kane Ashby? Victoria Newman and Nikki Newman are both furious with Victor. However, he will always insist that he is right and that this is the only way. I do wonder if he will continue going too far. We have already seen Claire's satisfaction by exposing Audra. If Kyle continues hiding secrets from Claire, she could turn back to her sinister ways. Claire promised her grandmother she wasn't going to be like Jordan. However, once she has her heart ripped out of her chest, all bets will be off. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most on Thursday, August 21st, 2025? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount Plus to find out what happens next. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the next 3 weeks suggest some curveballs. From August 18th to September 5th, fans can expect Sally Spectra to land in a tough spot. Sharon Newman pushes Mariah Copeland. Also, it seems Tessa Porter gets closer to her next love story. Let's start off with the week of August 18. Fans can expect Claire Grace Newman to tell Nate Hastings the truth, or at least leave some serious hints, maybe playing the same game that Audra Charles played with her regarding Kyle Abbott. Eventually, Nate corners Audra and demands the truth. That forces her into confessing, but then she claims that it's all Kyle's fault. There will also be Holden Novak, who has a chance encounter with Daniel Romalotti Jr. Later, Holden has a tough time hiding his feelings for Claire. Back to Daniel, he will continue to feel a spark with Tessa. Even though there seems to be a romance brewing, Tessa's heart might still belong to Mariah. Even so, Daniel and Tessa might give romance a chance. Also, Phyllis Summers gets her first orders from Kane Ashby. During the week of August 25th, fans can expect Audra to try to fix things with Nate. However, the former doctor could be totally done with her. This will have the brunette seeking revenge, meaning she will continue targeting Kyle and Claire. The blonde mentioned Audra's craziness to Nikki Newman. So, I wonder if Nikki could see clues that Audra is about to snap into violence. Audra did get a job offer from Sal. However, if Audra continues having meltdowns, Sally could rethink that decision. If she rescinds the job offer, that could turn Audra from a friend into a raging lunatic. During the week of September 1st, fans could see Sharon on a family mission. The woman is frantic over Mariah. When she tried to talk to her daughter, Mariah got angry and threatened to distance herself from Sharon too. Of course, that is the last thing that Sharon wants. With Tessa moving on, Sharon could try one more time to reason with Mariah. As for Lauren Fenmore Baldwin, she could have the 3 wedding gowns for Christine Blair to choose from. There is also Nikki and Victor Newman's marriage. The husband is putting all of his energies towards Kane. However, the marriage seems to be cracking as well. What's up with Daniel and Tessa? The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, August 20th show Billy in one of his patented rages, stomping into Adam's office so he can yell at Adam and Chelsea. Victor has ordered Adam to be mean to Kane and Nick to be nice to Kane. That way, he'll be confused and not know whom to trust. Billy is also confused. He told Jack he'd pretend to side with Kane while really working for the benefit of Jabot. So now, Billy yells at Adam, thinking that Adam is anti-Kane, while Billy himself is anti-Kane, but pretends to be pro-Kane. Adam, for his part, has to pretend to be anti-Kane while he knows his family is pretending to be pro-Kane, while they are actually pro-Kane, as long as Kane is anti-Jabot. But then will be anti-Kane again. Billy also yells at Chelsea, because that's more straightforward. Pay close attention. There will be a test. Kyle accused Audra of throwing herself at him. Claire says she believes him. But would Nate? Audra isn't taking any chances. She has her own version of events, and they involve having Kyle come onto her. After all, they were in his room, on his bed, and he was kissing her. If he didn't want her there, why did he invite her in? Besides, look at this logically. Who is more irresistible? Kyle or Audra? Yeah, it's kind of obvious, isn't it? Daniel admitted to Danny that he is finding himself drawn to Tessa. Tessa's wife has left her. Daniel's partner is dead. They're both single. Time to let nature take its course. The Young and the Restless scoop for Wednesday, August 20th reveals Claire Newman will tell Nate Hastings about Audra Charles. Also coming up, Daniel Romalotti will be surprised by Tessa Porter. Plus, Billy Abbott and Sally Spectra will confront Adam Newman and Chelsea Lawson. And Holden Novak will question Claire about Kyle Abbott. Y&R spoilers tease, Sally will tell Billy Abbott communications is ready to launch next week. You sure about that? Billy will say. However, Sally will say she has a secret weapon, a new COO. I brought in Audra Charles. Billy will ask if Sally's sure she can trust her, and she'll say Audra will be loyal to a fault. At the jazz club, Chelsea will ask Adam why he thinks Kane Ashby has been so quiet and hasn't reacted to the Newman media article. Adam will say they need to be prepared for a counterattack, and he doesn't think his family's plan to get chummy with Kane isn't a good idea. Then Billy and Sally will show up. Sally will tell Adam and Chelsea she's disappointed in them for trashing Billy. And Billy will tell them Sally's taking over the reins at Abbott Communications. He'll brag he has big things planned for himself, and Adam will roll his eyes. At Society, Holden will regale Daniel, Claire, and Tessa with a tale about how when he first landed in LA, he tried out for a reality dating show. But unfortunately, he found out he'd dated one of the decision-makers and ghosted her. So, of course, he didn't get the part. They'll all start laughing until Nate and Audra walk in. Claire will make a face and tell Holden she was feeling lighter until Audra walked in. Nate will tell Audra he wants to say hi to Claire. He'll ask how she's holding up, and she'll say fine, all things considered. Then they'll all express their condolences to Nate about his brother. Nate will thank them and head to the bar to get he and Audra a drink. Claire will sit at her table, glaring at Audra. Tessa will notice and ask her what's going on. I hope you don't mind if I make a scene, Claire will reply. But I have had it with that woman. So, she'll get up and go over to Nate. Claire will say there's something he needs to know. When she says it's about Audra, she'll get up from her table and head towards them. Your girlfriend made a deal with my grandfather for funding her company in exchange for getting Kyle to cheat on me, Claire will tell Nate. With her. Nate will ask Audra if it's true. Of course it isn't, she'll lie. Kyle conveniently made this is up and planted it in his little girlfriend's head. She'll add that Kyle was the one trying to hit on her in France. The only reason this is even coming up is because I rejected Kyle and his fragile little ego got hurt. So, Claire will ask if that explains the kiss between them in Genoa City. Why am I just now hearing about all of this? Nate will ask. Claire will say she's telling him the truth. Ask Kyle. Ask my grandfather. They'll tell you the truth, she'll add. Audra was willing to destroy my relationship with Kyle if Victor bankrolled Vibrante. Claire will tell him that's the kind of woman he's involved with and he deserves better. Then she'll shoulder check Audra as she walks by her. Claire will storm off and Holden will follow her. They'll end up at the lookout, and Claire will say Audra's trying to gaslight her into thinking Kyle's been making plays for her. She'll also tell him about Audra's deal with her grandfather. Holden will say that sounds like Audra, but he'll plant a seed of doubt. Is there any chance that Audra's not lying? She'll say she loves Kyle, but admit she does have doubts. And I hate that I do. As for Tessa, she'll tell Daniel that besides her daughter, he's been the one bright spot in her life. When I'm with you, I feel like I can be happy again. Thank you for that. Daniel will say he feels the exact same way about her. Finally, Audra will ask Nate to not let Claire's lies get to him. This has probably been one of the worst days of my life, Nate will reply. I was looking forward to a quiet evening with a woman I care for deeply. Audra will say surely he believes her over Claire. Nate will remind her ever since she returned from Nice, she's been dodgy. Come on, Audra, you have to admit some of what she said does seem to hold water. But Audra will say Claire believes those lies because Kyle told her them. Victor was right about him the whole time. He is gonna break Claire's heart, she'll add. Tell me, Audra, Nate will reply, how do you know that's what Victor thinks? Keep reading the Soap Scoop for Young. And the Restless spoilers and news. And make sure to also join our YNR Facebook group or leave us a reply in our comments section. But if you miss an episode, don't fret. You can watch The Young and the Restless online at cbs.com.